resurrection. We wish you were all here with us, but I do have Sammy and Josh to help me. You going to help me, boys?
Yep.
Today we're going to hear about something that's incredibly surprising that Jesus did. And in fact, we're looking at the whole of the next 5 weeks. We're going to look at the end of Jesus' life, okay? And Joshy's going to sit down. But the first trick, I'm going to show you a trick.
Hello.
All right? Look at this. It's a balloon. Now, if I told you that I could put a pin, I was going to put a pin in this balloon, what do you think is going to happen? Sammy, what do you think?
It will blow.
Is it going to blow?
It was going to blow.
It's just going to pop?
Yes.
Okay, let's have a look. Ready? Let's put a pin in this balloon. Ready? Ah! Whoa! I got a pin in the balloon. That's surprising, isn't it? Have you ever seen a pin go into a balloon?
No.
And it not pop just like that? Well, Jesus did something in our story today that was incredibly surprising. All right, let's start off with a game. And you can do this game at home, even with 2 people, with 3 people or 4 people, and it's a counting game, okay?
That's fun.
Let's demonstrate. Do you want to help me with this, Sammy?
Yes.
Okay, what you do, and Joshie, put one hand behind your back. Okay, and when I say go, you bring your hand out with any number of fingers. Can be 1 finger, 2 fingers,
Yes,
5 fingers.
Yes.
Okay, ready, let's go. And what you do, let's just try it. So bring your fingers out, ready, set, go.
Hiya.
And then what you got to do is count how many fingers are on my hand plus your hand. Can you do that?
10.
That's right. All right, let's try it again. Ready, and go.
4.
4.
4. Tie.
And go.
3.
3. Oh, you won that one. And go.
7.
7. You're good. That's great. Okay, one more time. Ready? And go. 5.
You won.
All right, if you want to pause the video here, you can play that at home as well. Okay? We're going to think about a special message that Jesus gave us in the final week of his life. And, well, this video gives us a bit of a clue. Have a look.
Who wanna be great, then serve. Who wanna be great, then serve. Serve your mum a cup of tea, make a toast and kiss an E. Wanna be great, then serve. Who wanna be first and care. Who wanna be first, then care. Swap your place in a queue with someone not as big as you. Wanna be first, then care. Great serve, first care. Oh, good help. Oh, yeah. Who is great? Who is first? Who is good? Jesus. All right, my friends, come on, line up now. Let's get a bit of marching happening, a bit of great serve. Here we go now. I wanna feel good, then help. I wanna feel good, then help. Help your dad with cleaning up, scrub the floors and wash the front. I wanna feel good, then help. A great serve, first care. Oh, good help, man. Oh, yeah. Who is great? Who is first? Who is good? Jesus!
Ah, that was fun, wasn't it? All right, boys. Now, we're going to think about the last week
Was
of
that
Jesus'
magic?
life. That wasn't magic. That was a video. That was a song.
And
Yeah.
how did you get on without pressing anything?
How did I get on the TV? Well, that was from the computer. That's pretty tricky, but we're going to go for a bit of a journey.
Yes!
And this
I love
comes,
journeys.
you love journeys, yeah. And by the way, I hope everybody was able to get their colouring sheet that would have come from the church, especially
Hello.
this week.
Okay.
And we're going to have one for each week in the coming weeks. All right, you can sit down now, boys. First bit of the story comes from the book of Mark, and it's from chapter 14. And it says this, it was the first day of the festival of thin bread or unleavened bread, and the Passover lambs were being killed. Now what happened was, let's go on a journey. Have a look at this, boys. We're going to go on a journey down the streets of Jerusalem. We're going to walk down there and go down another street because Jesus sent his disciples, 2 of his disciples, to get the Passover meal ready. And he said, when you go into town, you'll find a man who's carrying a jar of water, and go and tell him that the master is ready and where's the place that we're going to prepare the meal. And he showed them to an upper room in a house and went into that house, and well, it probably might have had a table and some chairs, but it was an old room in the second story of a house in Jerusalem, and they got ready to prepare the Passover meal. Now we're going to play a game. Are you ready?
Yes!
The Passover meal, well, there was some wine and there was some thin bread, some unleavened bread.
I thought that was blood.
Well, you're going to find out about that. No, that's wine in there. But let's play a game. You ready to play a game? This
Yeah!
game is called What's the Passover? All right, sit on your chairs. Let's have a look. Now, is the Passover A football player throwing the ball over the other players? Is that the Passover?
No.
Is a Passover a bridge that goes over the harbour?
No.
No. Do you think the Passover is a special ceremony that started when Moses was around in Egypt and the people were leaving Egypt, and God told them to paint blood on the doorposts, and then the angel of death would pass over their houses and everybody would be safe?
Yes!
Yeah, that's right. How did you know it was that one?
Because those two would not be.
They might not have been in the Bible.
Because they weren't in the Bible.
Oh, that was a very good guess. Actually, you're right. It's ready. Here we go. It's C. That's right.
Can we do another one?
Well, we'll do another game in a moment. But the Passover is all about these lambs, the sheep that would be killed for the people's sins. And that was the Passover was a very special ceremony that every year they celebrated. You can sit down now, Joshi. They celebrated to thank God for protecting the people of Israel back from the time of Moses all the way through. Well, we won't do a balloon now. We're doing a bit of a story now. Now, it's very significant that at this time, it's the Passover time when Jesus has this meal with his friends. And we're going to find out in the next couple of weeks that Jesus actually died. And in fact, Jesus is the ultimate Passover lamb. Instead of having to kill lots and lots of sheep, we don't have to do that anymore because Jesus himself took the punishment for our sin. He is the ultimate Passover lamb. He fulfilled the very thing that God had told Moses to start back with the people of Israel a long time ago. Jesus and his disciples came to the table. I don't know if it looked like that. Do you think it looked like that?
No.
How many disciples did Jesus have?
About 7.
7. All right, do you want to have another guess?
8.
And another guess? There's 12.
Oh,
Oh, never mind.
wait, can I count?
Or maybe it looks like this. Is that what it looks like?
There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, but one of them's Jesus.
No.
So
That's
Jesus and his
Jesus.
12
Oh,
disciples.
that's-
What about this one? How about that?
Uh,
Now, these are all paintings and tapestries and things like that.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah, it's the same
4,
disciples.
5,
Okay.
6,
Can you sit down for a second?
10, 11,
Because
12.
something amazing is about to happen. Well, first up, we find, sit down there, Joshi. We find out that Jesus, during the meal, did a couple of things that were very, very special. The first thing that he did is that he took the bread and he broke the bread. Joshi, he broke the bread. You can take that balloon if you like, and you can sit. If you sit down, you can have the balloon. He took the bread and he broke the bread and he gave it to his disciples. And he said, every time you break the bread, remember me. That's my body that's going to die on the cross. And they didn't know what he was talking about at that stage. And then he took the wine in a cup and he gave them all the wine and he said, this is my blood that will be shed for you, because Jesus was going to die for you and for me. And so in this meal, he does some pretty amazing things to help his disciples and us, we're disciples of Jesus and followers of Jesus today, remember Jesus. But then something incredible happens. And before we do that, we've got another game.
Yes.
In fact, this game is on your colouring sheet. Well, can you pass me the colouring sheet? On the colouring sheet, you will see down the bottom the awesome, super great person game. So you can play along with us. You can do it here and write your answer, or you can do it on the screen if you like. So
Okay, I want to do it.
now the question is, think of somebody.
Josh, we got another game.
Joshy, you got to think of somebody on TV, or maybe in the world, or maybe in Australia, who is great. Who's somebody? Can you think? You think?
I know.
You think. Have a think. Let the other people think as well. Okay. You guys have a think. You might want to pause the video now and write your answer down. Don't give your answer yet. Don't give your answer. Everybody's thinking. This is thinking time. In case you haven't paused the video. All right. Let's think of somebody. And on your sheet, you could draw them or write their name. All right, Sammy, what do you think?
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, a superhero. Do you think? You know what? Have a look at these. There are some pretty amazing, great people in history. Here's one. This is, I think it's Alexander the Great from Greece. Or you might have Winston Churchill. He was from England. He was a pretty great leader. Then you had this one who was a Caesar. Forgotten the name of who it was. Or you might think a great leader is a little bit like a shark, always able to just get whatever they want and attack the fish and go, that's a great leader. Is that a great leader?
No.
Or you might think a lion is like a great leader. Oh, nobody can beat a lion and he's the most powerful.
No.
No, what?
No, a cheetah.
A cheetah. Oh, a cheetah might be faster than a lion, but I think a lion is stronger.
Cheetah!
Or you might think, like you did, of a superhero being great.
Green Lantern.
Now, I want to tell you something interesting, Sammy and Joshi, and everybody who's watching, that Jesus is the greatest leader of all time. Do you know why?
Why?
Because he made the whole universe. He was here before time began. Through Jesus, everything was made. And then Jesus is going to be alive forever and ever. He's the most powerful and greatest leader of all. So if you want to find out what a great leader is or a great person is, you look at Jesus and follow him. So what happens then when we think about this King Jesus? What sort of a great person, what sort of characteristics that he had?
Well,
What do you think?
he has
Yeah.
a long name.
Well, I don't mean in the picture. I mean in real life, in the Bible. All right, let's have a little look. I tell you what. Let's have a look at this video.
He looks like...
All right, let's have a look at this video, and you will see some of the things that we've been doing this week. Have you been noticing that everybody says wash your hands? Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Let's have a look at Sammy and Joshi just this week, what they've been doing as they've washed their hands. Now, that might have been what your week's been like, just like ours. Mummy and Daddy saying, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And everybody seems to be saying that. Even the government seems to be saying, wash your hands. Well, Jesus said something slightly different. Well, first up, he didn't say anything. He got up, he took off his outer garment, he wrapped a towel around his waist, and then he did this. He went and washed the feet of his disciples. And that's what I'm going to do now. So first up, let me just have a go. Josh, you go first.
No.
Okay, let's wash. Jesus got the water and he washed and washed, and he probably got a towel and dried the dirty, dusty, yucky feet of his disciples one after the other. Peter wasn't so happy because Peter thought, no, Jesus is a great leader and he shouldn't be washing my feet. And first up, he wouldn't do it, but Jesus said, I need to do it. If you won't let me wash your feet, you can't be part of my kingdom. And Peter said, well, okay, wash all of me. And Jesus said, no, it's just your feet that need to be done. So he then washed Peter's feet. There we go.
Daddy,
Just like that.
Daddy, I need more water.
You need to be cleaner. I think your feet are pretty clean, actually. Well, in this story, what happened? Have a look, boys. Have a look at some of the pictures. Jesus took some water and he washed his disciples' feet. I don't exactly know what it looked like, but it says here, it was just before the Passover, and Jesus took the water and washed his disciples' feet. Why do you think Jesus washed his disciples' feet? Sammy, Joshi?
Because they've been dirty all year.
They have been dirty, that's right. Well, somebody had to. But do you know who normally washed the feet of people when they came into a house?
The bath.
Well, not the bath, but the servants used to do it. Like the people that were over there, the lowest of the low, they were the ones that used to wash the feet. But this was King Jesus.
Like Zacchaeus.
Well, Zacchaeus was a tax collector.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's got a good name though, doesn't he? Yeah. Well, Jesus was the King of Kings. He was in charge of the whole universe, and he was being like a servant, washing the feet of his disciples.
So,
don't you think that's a little bit unusual?
So now can we do like washing our feet?
Well, you can do washing your feet. But you know why he did it? Why did he do it?
Because I know here.
He wanted to show us what it was like to be a great leader. He wanted to show us that even though he was the King of Kings, he was willing to be a servant. So we actually say that Jesus is a servant king. Jesus is amazing. He's not like leaders that want to be in charge and be seen and think they're really powerful. He's the most powerful, but he becomes like a servant.
Can we wash our hands?
You can wash your hands in a minute, okay?
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Here's our little verse that comes from our story today.
I have seen.
Can you read that for me? I have set the example, and you should do for each other exactly what I have done for you. Do you think Jesus is amazing?
Yeah.
That he's willing to wash feet and be a servant,
Even
though he's the king. Now, again, after this, I've got a little activity here for the memory verse. So you might like to do a family memory verse, and there's some ideas there. You could create an artwork using the verse, or you could write a song, or you could even have each family member say one word at a time, and then video it, and maybe send it back, and we can watch it next week.
Okay.
So, boys, I think it's just about time for us to finish.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you've got older children and you want to go into a little bit more depth, then there are some questions there, and you could pause the video. And if you think about this week, maybe what you can do to follow Jesus' example, you might want to help your mom, help your dad, you might help your brother or sister. You might also want to think about people down the street. How can you be a servant to those around you? And what's amazing is, even though we can't go to church, we can be the church. In fact, church is not so much the building, church is the people, and we are God's people. So we're the church wherever we are. And Jesus wanted us to follow his example as a servant to those around us. So you have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you next time, if we make it. See you. Bye. So say bye.